अस्सलाम वालेकुम स्टूडेंट्स। आज हम एप्लीकेशंस ऑफ बोहर मॉडल डिस्कस करते हैं। उसमें से सबसे पहले जो एप्लीकेशन है बोहर एटॉमिक मॉडल इज़ यूज्ड टू कैलकुलेट द रेडियस ऑफ एन इलेक्ट्रॉन ऑर्बिट। In order to explain this concept, we have to take the example of hydrogen. Like hydrogen is present, which is having one electron and one proton. Electron is revolving around the nucleus, while proton being heavier, that is 1836 times heavier, so it remains stationary inside the nucleus. Let's suppose the charge on the nucleus is Ze and the charge on electron is E. R will be the radius of electron orbit, M will be the mass of the electron, and E will be the charge of electron, while V is the velocity of electron. Now according to Coulomb's law, the electrostatic force of attraction, that is centripetal force between the two oppositely charged particles, is directly proportional to the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between their centers. So if you write down this equation, the Coulomb's law, so F is directly related to Q1 and directly related to Q2 as well, divided by R square because it is inversely related to R square. If I write down over here, F is directly proportional to Q1, Q2, and this F is inversely proportional to R square. By combining these two equations, we will get this equation, the final, that F is proportional to Q1, Q2 divided by R square. Now in this case, Q1 is equal to Ze and Q2 is equal to E. So we will replace Q1, Q2 by Ze and E. So F is proportional now to Ze multiplied by E and divided by R square. When we multiply this E and E, so it will become Ze square divided by R square. Now in order to remove the proportionality constant sign, we have to write down another constant, and in this case the constant is K. So we will replace F is equal to K multiplied by Ze square divided by R square, where K is also called as permittivity of free space, and the value is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now what is permittivity of free space? It is the measure of how easy it is for radiation to pass through the vacuum, and its value is equal to 8.85 into 10 raised to the power minus 12 coulomb square per joule per meter. Now another force which is acting on the electrons when it is moving in a circular path, that is centrifugal force, and this centrifugal force is acting opposite to the centripetal force, because centripetal force is attracting the electron towards the nucleus, while centrifugal force is tends or try to remove the electron from the orbit. It wants that electron will move away from the nucleus and it move out of the atom. So centrifugal force is equal to F is equal to mv square divided by R. As I have told you, centrifugal force is equal to centripetal force. So we will compare equation number 1 and equation number 2. So mv square divided by R is equal to Ze square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. If we see, we have the equation in which R is square on the right side and single R is present on the left, so cancel it with the square, simplify it, so we will get mv square is equal to Ze square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R. When we rearrange this equation in order to get the value of V square, we will carry m towards the right side, so V square is equal to Ze square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R and m. Now according to the postulate of Bohr atomic model, which I have discussed in the previous lecture, that the angular momentum of the electron when it is revolving around the nucleus, that is mvr, and this mvr is equal to nh divided by 2 pi. Now we have to rearrange this equation so that we can get the value of V. So V will remain on left side and nh divided by 2 pi, and this r and m will go on the right side, so mr in the denominator. Now we will square this equation, squaring both sides of this equation. So V square is equal to n square h square divided by 4 pi square m square and r square. Now we have to compare the equation number 5 and 6 because left hand sides are equal. So z square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught rm, and that is equal to n square h square divided by 4 pi square m square and r square. Now simplify this equation by cutting the values which are same. So we will get 4 will cross with 4, pi with pi square, r with r square, and m with m square. Now the simplified equation we have to write down, that is z square divided by epsilon naught is equal to n square h square divided by pi, r and m. By rearranging this equation in order to get the value of r, we will do that r will remain on one side and this equation will go on the other side. So we will go the final equation that r is equal to n square divided by z h square epsilon naught e square pi m. Now if I write down this in two steps, this equation number 7, it can be written as in this form, that we will get all the values on the right side towards the left side. So we will get that 1 over r is equal to z e square is already present, epsilon naught is already present, and that will be multiplied by, when it goes to the other side, it will inverse, it will be reverted. So pi m divided by n square and h square. Now we have to get the value of r, so we have to invert this side and invert this side as well. So by inverting this side we will get r, and by inverting this side we will get that n square divided by z and multiplied by h square epsilon naught divided by e square pi m. Now all the values which I have wrote on the right side, these are constant values, and this, by putting this constant value, we will get another constant, that is a naught. And if we calculate the values of this a naught, so it comes out to be 0.529 angstrom. Now by replacing equation number 8, all these common values by a naught, we get that r is equal to n square divided by z multiplied by a naught. Now if in case of hydrogen, number of shell is equal to 1, atomic number of hydrogen is equal to 1. So by putting the values in this equation, n square 1 square divided by 1 multiplied by a naught, and r is equal to a naught. Now this a naught is equal to 0.529 angstrom. So in case of hydrogen, n is equal to 1, z is equal to 1, so r will be equal to 0.529 angstrom. If you want to calculate the value for next higher shells, that is shell number 2, 3, 4 or so on, we will use the equation r is equal to a naught multiplied by n square divided by z. We will use this equation to find out the values of any higher shell. For shell number 1, it is directly equal to 0.529. For shell number 2, putting the value of n is equal to 2 and z is equal to 1. So r2 is equal to 0.529 multiplied by 2 square. It is in this case that r is equal to a naught multiplied by n square divided by z. In case of hydrogen, its shell number 2 is present, so atomic number is again 1, z is equal to 1, so no need to write down 1. So r is equal to a naught multiplied by 2 square divided by 1. If we calculate the value, it comes out to be 2.11 angstrom. For shell number 3, putting the value of n as 3 in the equation, so 0.529 multiplied by 3 square, we will get the value 4.575. Now what does the value of r represent? The value of r represents that as we move from shell number 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, 3 to 4 and so on, now the radius will go on increasing, that r1 is less than r2, r2 is less than r3, r3 is less than r4, and all these are clear from the values. r1 was calculated, that is 0.529 angstrom. In case of this r2, it is 2.11 angstrom, and in case of r3 it is 4.75 angstrom, r4 and so on. You can calculate the values. Now it shows clearly that the value of r increases as the number of shell increases. So that's the final decision and final conclusion that we have drawn from the Bohr's atomic model, that increasing the number of shells in an atom, when the electron jumps from one shell to another and other to other, so the radius also increases. I hope it will be clear to all of you. If there is any problem, you may comment and I will explain the problem to you. And